Hello and welcome to another CalmCast narration. Today we begin our first episode of From Embers to Stone. So without further ado, Episode 1, Orenthall, Splendor and Shadows. There was a time when Orenthall stood proud, not as the fractured land we now flee, but as a kingdom whose beauty and promise could hold a soul fast for a lifetime. In the height of summer, the fields rolled in waves of golden wheat, and the harvest festivals filled every street with music, roasted meat, and the sharp scent of cider. Children darted between market stalls, laughter bouncing off stone walls. Merchants displayed their skills in spices beneath awnings of crimson and gold, and the great market bells rang in a rhythm older than any living memory. The rivers ran clear then, winding past water wheels that turned day and night, feeding the lifeblood of bakeries, smithies, and mills. Lanterns glowed warm in the windows at dusk, and neighbors would linger in doorways, sharing bread, gossip, and small kindnesses. Orenthall, for all its flaws, was a place worth calling home. The change came not in a single night, but in small, creeping ways. A new tax was posted on the market gates, minor at first, but doubled by the year's end. The guards in the streets became more numerous, their armor polished brighter than the smiles they never gave. Whispers in taverns grew cautious, eyes flitting to corners before words could leave the mouth. The open laughter of the festivals grew quieter, replaced by the clink of coin in collectors' hands. Hunger came next. Bread grew drearer, meat scarcer. Those with strong backs left for the wars the nobles called necessary. Fewer returned each season. The glow of lanterns at night began to fade as homes fell empty. What had been the pride of our kingdom became its prison. The four families, pillars of power and oppression. House Draven, keepers of the coin, their banner, a black raven stitched in silver, hung over the tax halls like a shadow over every household. They did not simply take coin, they measured debt like a farmer measures grain, storing it until it could crush the debtor entirely. Families sold heirlooms, land, even their own labor for decades to satisfy Draven's ledgers. House Varric, the steel-clad fist of Orenthall, their generals viewed war as both a game of skill and a source of wealth. To them, battle was an art, and soldiers were tools. Borders were bent and broken in campaigns whose causes few in the lower streets understood. Varric soldiers patrolled not for safety, but to remind the people of the cost of disobedience. House Careth, the executioner's hand. Justice under Careth's seal was as cold and sharp as the blades they carried. Their gallows stood permanently in the square, and the creak of rope was a sound no child should know, yet all did. They believed fear was the truest form of order. House Lorcall, merchants of the harvest, their storehouses brimmed with grain even as our children's bellies hollowed. In lean years, they sold our bread to foreign ports, claiming it was for the kingdom's coffers. The Lorcall's sprawling mills stood like fortresses, guarded as though each sack of flour were gold. The breaking point. Some endured, many tried, but when winter came and the Lorcall granaries stayed shut while frost claimed the fields, patience ended. The cold was cruel, but the hunger was worse. Then came the conscriptions. Boys pulled from beds before dawn, mothers chasing soldiers through snow, fathers standing silent as the march carried their sons away. For me, it was the execution of a farmer named Joran. His crime? Hiding 2 sacks of grain to feed his family. I stood in the crowd that day, the wind cutting through my coat, and watched Kareth's rope claim another life. That was when I knew Orenthall would take everything from us, piece by piece, until nothing remained. The decision to leave. It began in whispers, in barns and basements where the frost crept in through the beams. We spoke of a place far across the water, a vast land untouched by the banners of kings. A fisherman claimed to have seen it. Green shores, rivers that sang, and forests deep enough to lose an army in. It was a fragile hope, but it was enough. Days became weeks of quiet labor. We mended old fishing nets and patched the holes of fishing boats under the cover of night. Barrels of water and salted fish were hidden beneath false floors. Every conversation was half-truth, every errand a risk. The night we left, fog clung to the harbor like a shroud. The air was heavy with the scent of salt and tar. Footsteps on the dock sounded far too loud, each one a drumbeat of urgency. No one spoke. There was nothing left to say. As the sails caught the wind, I looked back at the faint outline of Orenthall, its towers fading into the mist. My chest ached with a grief I could not name. Ahead lay a horizon empty of certainty but full of possibility. Whatever waited across that stretch of black water could not be worse than what we had left behind. Or so we told ourselves, as the sea carried us toward a new chapter, leaving the ashes of Orenthall to the wind.